Hello everyone, welcome to Solar Wolf's channel. Super Typhoon Ragasa showed us how a storm can be both tragedy and relief depending on where it turns. Taiwan was battled by landslides, flash floods, and destructive rain, while Hong Kong counted itself lucky that the typhoon center passed 120 kilometers south instead of striking head-on. That slim difference spared the city from catastrophic damage. But nearby Macau was not so fortunate, as floodwaters surged through its streets and power supplies were cut. Let's take a closer look at what happened across the region. In Taiwan, Ragasa never made direct landfall, but its outer rain bands unleashed torrents of water. Mountain slopes gave way to landslides, rivers overflowed, and a barrier lake burst, sending a surge downstream. 17 people were confirmed dead and dozens injured. Bridges collapsed and roads were torn apart, leaving communities isolated. In Hualien County, villagers described watching their homes swallowed in minutes. For Taiwan, this was a chilling reminder that the greatest danger of a typhoon often lies not in the wind, but in the water it carries down steep terrain. The death toll and destruction revealed once again how fragile human settlements can be against nature's fury. Hong Kong braced for the worst, hoisting the highest number 10 signal. Schools closed, ferries and flights were cancelled, and residents taped their windows or sought shelter. Yet the storm's track made all the difference. Passing 120 kilometers south, Ragasa still lashed the city with hurricane-force winds and heavy rain. But it was not the direct hit some earlier forecasts feared. About 90 people were injured, hundreds of trees uprooted, and scattered flooding reported, including seawater pouring into a hotel lobby. But compared with the devastation across the strait, this was a near miss. If the storm had tracked just 60 kilometers further north, the impact would have been disastrous. Macau, however, experienced some of Ragasa's worst coastal effects. Streets in low-lying districts turned into rivers as storm surge pushed water inland. Shops, restaurants, and promenades were inundated. Authorities suspended electricity in flood-prone zones to prevent accidents, affecting nearly 8,000 households. Around 2,400 people were evacuated, though some refused to leave. For many residents, the scenes recalled past typhoons that crippled the city. Once again, the contrast with Hong Kong showed how small differences in geography and preparation could mean very different outcomes, even under the same storm system. Super Typhoon Ragasa will be remembered as a storm of two phases: a disaster in Taiwan, a fright but relative reprieve in Hong Kong, and a flood crisis in Macau. It reminds us that in the era of climate change, the margins are narrowing. A shift of a few dozen kilometers can redraw the map of destruction. We can only respect the power of nature, prepare as best we can, and learn from each storm's lessons. If you found this story eye-opening, please like, subscribe, and share. And let me know in the comments what's the closest call with extreme weather you've ever experienced.